It's amazing how memory works. One moment you're stuck in an abandoned world where rejected story character ideas go, and they stay there until they would somehow become relevant again. And then the next second, you're placed in a world that has a completed story, which is all ready for you to experience before your very eyes. I was once a rejected character from a rejected story idea. The writer, who was supposed to write my story, felt that I had too many human characteristics to be viewed and loved as an android for his science fiction story. Though other drafts of said story were made, things just didn't work out. My story got shelved and I ended up here, a place that other rejected story characters go, that they call the incomplete. I'm not the only character that this has happened to. Since the art of writing stories began, several other 100 characters have ended up here, since many writers out in reality have never completed some of their stories either, throughout the course of history. Some characters in passing would mention that there was a way out of this place, a place where these characters could go to experience a completed story and have some sort of fate, rather than rot away in this abandoned and scrapped world. The more I travel, the incomplete, the more I learn about it and how it works. I also learn more and more on how certain characters end up here. I encountered many characters in my travels and have learned something valuable from most of them. My journey within this world became more intriguing upon meeting both a scientist and a cowboy, who were the people who gave me more of a purpose. I learned about the scientist through many characters in this world, and was always on the lookout for her, as I always heard that she was very intelligent. I can remember my days in Incomplete as if they were yesterday. Hey, you there! Hold up a second. I believe I have heard about you. Do you go by the name Dr.
Dr. Not Shown? Yes, that would be me.
Yes, thank you. I've been looking for you for a while now. I've been walking around the world of the incomplete for a very long time. I've heard a lot about this world, and I know why I'm here like all of the other characters. The reason I have been looking around for you is because someone told me a while ago that you know how to become part of a completed story, and you know how to get out of this place. Is that correct?
Yes, I do happen to know how to leave this place.
Excellent. So do you know exactly how to leave the incomplete? What do I have to do to be part of a completed story and never have to worry about being in this place again?
Well, it's not exactly an easy process. You have to be chosen by a different writer out in reality. It's safe to call you a human boy, right? Will that fit the story you were supposed to be in originally?
Oh, you're perfectly fine, ma'am. I guess in a way I am a human being. I'm supposed to be an android who strongly resembles a human, and my original writer can't figure out what to do with me in his story. He just kind of gave up. I guess since we're on the topic of this, why are you here? Why was your writer not able to complete your story?
In short, I wasn't happy with what my writer was going to do with me in his story. For all the promise he gave me in Act 1 of his story, of being a scientist who was meant to cure major illnesses and create scientific breakthroughs, it's quite clear that I wasn't going to do any of those things from what the lady wrote about me. My story was meant to be a science fiction movie. The screenwriter assigned to work on my story was not allowed to finish the story since the film's producer was not happy with where the project was going. The film studio eventually pulled the plug on my story, and as a result, my story was never finished. I do know from what was written from it that my character does not do anything too notable.
Well, hey, maybe you and I can join forces for a story somehow. I'm interested in being in one, and hopefully you are too. What more can you tell me about this opportunity that allows the characters to leave the incomplete?
So it's something that's called the purpose room. This room allows characters to brainstorm and pitch story ideas to people out in reality through some form of mystic power that's never been confirmed as to how it all works. Those certain ideas float around from brain to brain, out in reality, in hopes that a writer will claim that idea and make a completed story about it. If it's chosen from someone, and if that new story gets completed, it's a special place here within the incomplete, which will allow that certain lucky character or characters to portal out of this world forever and be a part of something eternally.
That sounds incredible. Can you show me where this place is? How come you haven't taken advantage of this room yet?
As I told you earlier, I wasn't happy with what my writer was going to do with me in his story. It's also a part of the reason why I wear this cloak. To further show my disapproval of his story, I decided to hide what I was going to look like in his story. I just got sick of wearing my lab coat and couldn't stand the sight of looking at it any further. Though I still have it on, underneath this cloak.
So why not just make a story in this certain room you told me about, and put yourself and your outfit in a new genre?
I find myself happier by showing characters who are interested in the purpose room and where to find it and how to use it. Also, I managed to help out a vampire character leave the incomplete a while back, and I now feel comfortable with showing other characters how to fully function the use of this room and how to keep this process going, so that many more characters will find happiness too.
I'm getting quite curious about this purpose room. Can you show me where it is?
Of course, I'll lead the way. Calm down, dear boy, it's perfectly safe. I think you'll like what you'll see in this room. In this room, characters from incomplete stories can either write down what they know of their stories and find a way to embellish it, to make it better and more interesting. The other option that characters have here is that they can completely start from scratch, place themselves in a completely different story, and even a different genre, and hopefully that a writer out in reality will claim that idea and possibly even finish it too. Here on the table, you will have numerous blank pieces of paper to work with. And this is how you can either embellish or start completely fresh and new with a story idea for someone to claim.
I never looked at myself as a writer. Do you know anything useful about good writing by chance? I really don't know where to start with this.
I don't, my dear boy. I just happen to have a lot of knowledge about this world, and I like to help other characters find their way to this place, and to help them get out of the world if they choose to do so.
Here's a good idea. How about you and I think of a great idea for a story? A story that we could both be in, and we could get out of this world in no time.
No, I'm sorry. Ever since I realized how much I hated what my writer was going to do with me in his story, I figured the best way to show how much I disapproved of it would be to be my own person and not get immediately labeled by that story or any other story. My real purpose is to help others, and I can only do that by staying here in the incomplete.
Do you know of any other characters that might want to team up with me on this story?
The last character that I helped for finding this place with was a cowboy character with a way of dressing himself. He seemed to have a good start with whatever he was writing down, but I think he eventually stopped and gave up, and just randomly left shortly after, from what I'm aware of. You should come see what this table has to offer.
So this is what this cowboy knows about his story? Do you know if he left anything else here by chance?
From what I know of his experience being in here, that is what he wrote down. I don't know of any other documents of his.
Do you know anything about this thing right there?
I can safely assume it was from an earlier character in the room. He either just left it here or doesn't want it anymore.
It just struck me as something odd in this place. So about this cowboy guy, do you have any idea where he is right now, or how I could get a hold of him? I want to be in a story with him, and I think it could really work out.
I guess a safe place to look would be in the Western genre. Or because the story was unfinished, maybe he didn't feel comfortable with those characters. Maybe he wanted to see what other story genres looked like. I believe they call him the mismatched cowboy.
Okay, thanks. At least that's a starting point. I think I'm gonna go look for that cowboy. Thank you so much for showing me this place. Hopefully this cowboy guy will want to be in a story with me as much as I want to.
You have a great window of opportunity here. I hope you and that bizarre man find true happiness in this place.
And where can I find you if I need more information on the incomplete, and how to get out of this world?
I'm afraid I don't really have a favorite place in the incomplete. I guess just keep looking around when you need me.
I haven't been this happy in a very long time. I do hope we meet again someday. Thanks, Dr. Not Shown. Since the incomplete consists of characters and places from all story genres, finding this cowboy might not be the easiest task in the world. I must keep looking, as this cowboy seems to have a basic story structure already, and it just needs some tweaks and some good imagination for a writer out in reality to want to complete a story about this idea. Hopefully, just hopefully, I can work into this story as well in a clever way.
It's hard to live up to expectation. When the world hears the name Stanley Kanga, the first thing they think about is great horror novels. That they are about to witness another great story unfold right in front of them. When I promised my publisher a Western for my next novel, he was worried that I couldn't do it. He wanted me to stay in a genre that everyone was already familiar with when it came to my work. I wanted a challenge. I wanted to take on a story world that was very different from my previous body of work. I wanted to work on a Western that played in a very unique way. In order to get there, I needed to think of some great ideas to use for it first. And then hopefully the world will be ready to read a different kind of story from the great Stanley Kanga.
Uncertainty. That is how I always felt about this world. Uncertain. Most characters in my description are known to be tough, and are known to be leaders of great things. To this day, I still wonder why my writer wanted me to be a comedic character in his story. Why I would be played up for laughs instead of serious drama. My outfit never seemed to make sense, and even I can't describe the purpose of it to anyone either. My sandals aren't meant for showdowns, my pants don't seem to match the Western genre, and my shirt is an embarrassment to my genre. At least my hat is okay. I once had a bad encounter with a character from the gangster genre, and ever since then, I feel that a story involving me saving a Western town from a band of bandits just doesn't seem fitting for a character like me. There are thoughts just like these ones, where I wish I could just converse with my writer, just to see what was going through his head while writing such a Western. Are the goofy fellers really meant to be heroes? Can the funny wisecrackers still be tough? I have too many questions on my mind in this sad world of incomplete story ideas. Doesn't really help my imagination any further with resolving any answers to such questions. That is why I walk this land, hoping to find answers one of these days.
Excuse me. Are you the one they call the mismatched cowboy?
Why, yes, I am. Weird dressed feller. Am I supposed to know who you are?
Well, what brings me here today is that I just met a scientist. She told me that you had a firm understanding of your original story. That your writer knew what it looked like before he abandoned it. I guess what I was hoping to say was, I want to team up for a new story, with the help of a special room that Dr. Notshone showed me. Do you want to team up for a story?
I know that there room you speak of. Gave it a shot already. Some smart lady showed me yonder in my travels already. I did the best that I could. I wrote down everything I could remember from the story. Just couldn't get anywhere. Couldn't think of anything new to the story. My writer couldn't quite find the right cowboy for the job. Can't protect no village.
Well, from what Dr. Notshone has showed me, the Purpose Room allows characters to completely revise their story. We don't even need to use your original story. So we can use all of it or some of it. And since I am an android, I can add an interesting element of sci-fi to your story. Or I could even turn into a human for your story, because I already look like one. Or I could even be your sidekick. That's the beauty of all of this. We can turn this into whatever we want.
Sorry, young feller, but you lost me at android. What's this fancy word you call android that you speak of?
An android? Well, that's what I am. It's just another word for robot. It's a little hard to describe, but think of it as the most advanced machine you could ever imagine, mixed in with some very smart technology. All these parts come together to create a being with personality. Does that make sense?
So wait, there's some sort of talking metal? I've heard of blacksmith metal, but never anything smart like that, though.
Well, I guess we're making progress, so I'll quickly recap. I am an android that looks like a person. My name is Jimmy Android. To help you remember the word android, androids are a very, very special piece of metal. We'll go with that since you know what metal is. Now, for the most important part, do you want to join me so we can get out of this world?
Okay. No, I think I got it. We are talking blacksmith metal. The deal is that you're involved with that there android somehow. You want me to team up for your story, which I will say no to. My writer never found the right cowboy for the job. I just can't protect the village from bandits.
Please though, sir, you don't understand. The Purpose Room has the ability to completely reshape characters. We can turn into something new and different. That's how characters can leave this world and become some part of something much better. If you need better weapons for the story, this room can give us that. If you need a sidekick to take down those bandits, this room can give us that. And I can be your sidekick. Any problem or fear you have with a story or genre can be completely altered down. We can shape our destiny in this room, And that's all I ask of you. Please reconsider going on this adventure with me. Please.
Gonna have to think about that one, blacksmith metal. If I can change some things around a little better to fit my needs, it might just work for me. Maybe it won't be that bad. So give me some time to think about it.
Please consider it, cowboy. Please. I still don't understand why the mismatched cowboy was so stubborn about leaving the incomplete. Shouldn't all of us in this world feel the need to leave it? To be a part of something bigger? To be a part of a completed story? There's gotta be something that him and I could do for a story that we would just fall in love with. There is a story here. It's just a matter of convincing the cowboy to take this journey with me. He did say he wanted to be in a more serious story, so maybe that's what we need to do. Think of something more serious to be a part of. Perhaps remove the parts that make fun of his clothes and make him stand out more as a hero to this village, and to make him more daring and courageous as a character. Then there's the matter of how I will be in the story. Do I become his sidekick? Would I be a helpful member of this village? Would I be a villain? Nah, I couldn't do that. The cowboy wouldn't go through with this if I made myself the bad guy. There's gotta be something here. If only my original writer wrote me to have more original ideas in my head, then think this task would be much easier. I guess I just need some time to think of something unique. So, did you think things over from earlier? Do you want to be in a story with me?
I don't know if I can do a blacksmith metal. I've encountered too many strange fellas in this here world. The idea of going into a different world with so many different characters sounds just too darn intimidating.
In case you forgot, my name is Jimmy Android. And second, the beauty of the Purpose Room is to change characters for who they really are. If you really hate the man you are, you don't have to be that man anymore. We can change it in the Purpose Room.
Well, what happens if I encounter one of them weird gangster fellers again?
You ran into problems with gangsters? Well, I guess we can make sure they won't be in the story that we're in. Would that make you feel better? Is that what you're worried about?
It's not just that. I'm worried about whatever story I get placed in. I'll encounter some sort of threat that I can't handle. I just don't know what to do.
Well, I guess most stories have conflicts of sorts. Well, I guess we can try to do as little as possible with that, if you want.
We can try, blacksmith metal. You can try. I guess it'd just be easier if I told you about the time that I encountered a gangster named The Result. I was traveling through a town at one point, a long time ago, which was supposed to represent the gangster genre. Everything was going fine, and it was a nice day so far. It seemed like a town full of things you would expect from all story genres. Neat environments, fancy clothes, a place with its own unique personality. All of that went through my mind, and all of that left my mind the second I met a man who called himself The Result. I learned through other characters in my travels that the reason he's called The Result is because people would all turn to him in this town for the results that they wanted with a problem that would have been too difficult to take care of on their own. So this dangerous feller, the result, stopped me to ask me a question as I was walking by this big and notable building that everyone in this town seemed to cross by throughout the day. He asked me,
"Hey boy, do you like money?"
I told him yes. He asked me if I had money on me. I once again told him yes. This was when things started to go south. He then asked me,
"Hey boy, do you like making money or giving money?"
what was more important to me. I replied with, making money. He then said,
"That's where you're wrong, partner. That's what I do, and I do it best."
he then pushed me against a nearby wall and tried to take any money that I had on me. I managed to run off. I started to hear gunfire as I ran through the rest of the town. I had to find new sandals in my travels, since that's all I know for footwear, and I've been very lucky to find this pair along the way. And I was even luckier to survive the situation that I had with the man they call the result.
I'm very sorry that happened to you. No one should ever go through that. That's just not right.
Thanks for understanding, Blacksmith Metal.
I know you're probably sick of hearing this right now, but I want you to give something a chance. You might not like what you hear, but I want you to try it.
I'm not going back to no gangster town, Blacksmith Metal.
No. That's not what I was gonna ask you.
Good. Thank God.
What I was gonna ask you is if you would be willing to go to the purpose room with me. Just for a little bit, just to go over some story notes.
You know, I don't know if I want to be in a new story, Blacksmith Metal.
No, I wasn't expecting you to. I do want you to reconsider changing the possibility of who you are and what you are doing. And changing what story you would be in.
You promise you won't make me a clown for no story?
I just want you to be exposed to what this room can do. That's all I ask.
You're a real stubborn piece of metal, aren't you?
Stubborn is a very good word to describe you too. Now come on, let's get going. You can leave your footwear up there if you want. So everything that you remember about your story has been written on this paper.
I reckon.
Well, it's a start. I think the best thing to do would be to decide what we both want out of this story. I just want to be included somehow in a way that you would approve of. And I know you wanted to be taken more seriously in this story, right?
Yeah, all of that, for sure. You know, I want my clothes to be better too. Can you do that on that paper thing?
Yes, we can. This piece of paper allows us to do almost anything for the story. It's just a matter of a writer claiming it out in reality, so we can leave this world.
Sounds good. So you know a lot about good writing, I reckon.
Maybe not as much as I'd like to, but I just want to leave this world more than anything. I want to be in a completed story. I hate living without a purpose.
You make sure that the story doesn't have me fighting any bandits or nothing. I just want to be the neat, tough guy.
I think we have a good story in front of us. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks. If you want, I'll make you the tough guy in the story. And I can be the person that fights off the bandits for you. Science fiction is a very open-ended genre in storytelling. We can make a lot of different and very unique elements work for this.
But if you take down their bandits, what is that going to leave me? So some tough guy that shows up over yonder?
Well, yeah, I guess, but I thought you didn't want to fight bandits in this story.
I don't. I just want more of a tough guy with tasteful clothes. I want to be the guy that picks up all the Wild West gals.
Well, look, I'm just trying to make it easier on us. by already working with the story that's in front, and we can change what we want accordingly.
And you were the one that promised me to show me how this room works. And that was it. I ain't here to get told what to do. I don't want to go through with all this.
I don't want to lose you so early on in this project, so let's slow down a bit. One idea that I had was that I could remain an android for this story. Through the power of this room, I can make myself a very powerful android. So powerful that I can take down most of those bandits myself. What we still need, though, is a way for the other characters to view you as a tough guy, so that you're very relevant to the story, and it's not just about me being an android. Are you with me so far?
I ain't following what you're saying.
Well, let's put it this way. If I make myself a human for this story, I can fit into a Western story concept better. But if I choose to remain an android for this story, we can add more elements of fantasy to the plot. But then we run the risk of me not being relatable as a character for the audience.
I didn't know that blacksmith metal was so complicated.
So what do you think? Do you think I should be a relatable human in this story?
Well, I want what I want, and you want what you want. You know, I just want to be taken seriously. Whether you want to be goofy or not, I'll leave that up to you.
Well, at least we have a starting point. So let's go from here. Now, for the scene where we fight bandits, should we allow some combat skills for my character? Should we have some type of unique weapons or guns for the scene?
What do you mean? I'm supposed to be the hero of this story.
Yeah, I know, but I thought I was supposed to be your sidekick in this story. And I was the one that was helping you take down the bandits.
You came in major help in that story, yonder. But I'm supposed to be the tall, dark, and handsome fella in this story. Now, I'm supposed to be the one that saves the village from these bandits.
I'm aware of this, but how do I keep my character relevant? My character needs to stay active in Act 3 because he's definitely active in Acts 1 and 2.
That's all fine and dandy, blacksmith metal, but make sure you make me the hero at the end of the story.
It really hasn't been easy making this story with you. I've been doing all the hard work here, and you've been sitting over there in a fantasy. You're just wishing you were this big hero where you clearly aren't.
What are you talking about?
I mean, come on, look at you. You're just some random wimpy cowboy guy. Your shirt is miscolored, your jeans look modern, and your sandals, let's just say no cowboy would ever wear those.
Well, excuse me, but you look like some fancy metal just walking around. Looking like you think you know everything, but you belong in a junkyard. I can see why you're here in this world.
I'm just suggesting that you be more open-minded to this. We just need you to get you something more convincing to wear so people will actually take you seriously. Your outfit just doesn't match with a story like this.
Well, just in case you don't know, blacksmith metal, all the metal here in the Wild West stays in a shop somewhere, and it just gets burned out over time. And that's the truth about blacksmith metal.
Look, I'm sorry if I got a tad bit mean about this. I just want to get out of this world and be in a completed story. I hate feeling abandoned all the time.
You know, I really want to feel valued too, blacksmith metal. But what are we going to do about all those comedy scenes that you wanted?
I don't know, cowboy. I don't know if I have the writing ability to do all that. I just want to make it a good story.
Alright. Guess I'm out of here.
Wait a minute. Come take a seat again. We'll work something out. What if we go back and rewrite the story and make your character serious the entire time, but still keep your clothes goofy? But for Act 3, we give you the most amazing outfit for your final showdown.
But I already told you, blacksmith metal, I ain't gonna be a clown for nobody.
Alright, I guess it was just a suggestion, and this will take longer than I thought.
I think I finally figured it out. To achieve the kind of Western story that I want to make, I want to add sci-fi elements to it. I decided to place an android character into the story who would help out a cowboy with a weird way of dressing himself. The two of them would save a western town from bandits. I also made the choice to give the cowboy a much more convincing outfit towards the end of the story to show that he has grown as a character through the help of this android. Like the task of any writer now, I must give this story some form of natural progress, and not force anything in it. I might be onto a masterpiece here if I just play my cards right.
Now we have to find Dr. Not Shown. I don't know what to do at this point. But at least we have a story pitch ready. Come on, let's go find that doctor.
I don't know why we need a smart lady, but let's get going.
Dr. Not Shown. It's me, Jimmy Android, from earlier. The mismatched cowboy and I have a completed story, ready to go. So, what do we do next?
Congratulations, dear boy. I'm proud that you found an embellished story that will bring you happiness. What you have to do now is wait back in the purpose room and place a blank piece of paper over your completed story pitch. You will see written messages appear on it, and you will see more and more of them as time progresses. And if a writer claims the idea, as you will see a message for it, you must then head to a place called the Concrete of Completion, where you then must raise one hand out to the sky, and your new story will then portal you out of this world.
Messages still appear after a while, even if no writer claims it?
That is correct.
I think I know where the Concrete of Completion is. It's not too far from the purpose room. Man, this is great. But I wonder where that cowboy went. Thank you so much for making this journey possible.
It's no problem, dear boy. I'm glad you followed through with your window of opportunity.
Dang. Blacksmith metal's getting too fast for me.
Come on, let's get going. Okay, I guess we just wait until a writer claims this. Let's just hope Dr. Not Shown was right about this.
This third act of the story is easier said than done. I wonder if I...
Here we go. Someone might just claim it. Look, he's actually writing it.
I really think the publisher will like these changes.
There yonder, the writer is ready for us.
I think the story is done.
Not just any writer, cowboy. We have the great horror novelist Stanley Kanga writing it.
He writes westerns?
He must have loved our story idea. Hurry, let's get to the Concrete of Completion.
for this moment my whole life, cowboy.
Me too, Blacksmith Metal. I'm excited to get out of here.
So the world is ready for the next big story, eh?
Well then, they will get that story.